what about those human connection things? And it's aligned with what you're saying, but I'm hoping we can elaborate a bit more on, in the context of PE, what actually is sought after and really needed at that table that a lot of other type of executives might not bring that would complement the team. What's your take on that?
I think we're seeing a spotlight on EQ. EQ has become increasingly more important, and that is softer, but you have to complement the two. You have to complement all of the technical skills, if you will, and the metrics to back that up. But I think demonstrating that EQ and has become more of a focus. Rich, have you seen that as well?
I'd say EQ is certainly one of them. The other kind of universal truth is bias for action. So
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you when you think about behavioral skills, soft skills, pace, energy, bias for action, those are the words that always get used in private equity. Every cultural environment is going to be different. Some places like people that are going to be a little edgier, and I've heard it called collaboration by conflict. So that works in some places, and in other places it doesn't. So there's not a mainline answer there, but I think more of a focus on helping them understand what kind of person you are, what kind of leader you are, how you get things done, moving quickly, moving at pace. That's always important in private equity.
Sandra, did you want to add to what's been said?
Well, I can probably bring to mind some scenarios where we've had conversations with people that have got into these interview situations. Maybe it was through a network referral. I know through agency, they're more likely to get a direct hit, the industry match, because that's what they're paying for. But sometimes through these networking connections, they might find themselves in a stakeholder conversation where maybe they don't have the same industry, or maybe it's slightly industry adjacent or something like that. And the key element that we found to be very successful is to not spend the whole entire interview in the context of your past. So yes, you do have to bring up these accomplishments. Yes, you do have to talk about, like Rich mentioned, the bias for action and demonstrating what type of a leader you are, but you can do this in the context of asking them more about their situation and what they're doing. And so if you develop the skill of being able to move the conversation from me and my past to you and your future, where you're having that conversation, talking about them and their company, and bringing in all the context of all the accomplishments with those numeric values to them, they will start to see you, to not have to picture themselves in your past and say, wow, we believe he did all this, it's amazing, but we're just not like that industry, or that's a slightly different scenario. But if you can get them to picture you in their future and bringing in all these relevant accomplishments in the context of their future, you end up with a better chance of getting an offer.
And I think these companies, the portfolio companies, are, I mean, think about it from their perspective. They've, a lot of them have been industrials and chemicals, and obviously PE is where I play a lot. But I mean, a lot of these are privately held companies that are navigating this change, moving into this private equity space. And so think about the company culture. Maybe, that company has, it's been acquired, and some of the people are gone that had been there for 20 years, and now they're adding in these new people. So demonstrating that you can help, it's probably more asking questions around, what are you looking to do with the organization in the next 5 years? Understanding that they're likely recreating their DNA, and they've already gone through a lot of change. So on the soft skills side, I think it's important that these people understand both of those levels. You just can't come in as, this big bad PE firm mentality that can't, my clients are always asking for candidates that can talk to the, the sponsors, but also manage that prior family run culture, and navigate that change and understand that they're creating a new DNA. That's where a lot of our clients come to us, is help us create this new DNA that bridges the gap between the old guard and the new guard.
I would say the one thing to add to that all, and I agree with this is a fantastic point that you brought up, Sandra. When you're talking to the PE sponsor, realize that if it's an industry that you're really familiar with, you probably actually know more about it than they do. So ask good questions, like make some assumptions, do your research on the business, make some assumptions, and ask questions based on those assumptions about the business, and show your expertise in the sector, show your expertise in what they're doing. You may ask questions and they have no idea what you're even talking about. Then you get to explain it to them a little bit. It's just a great way to engage with them. But the more you can make them think about you in that job and how you can drive these impacts, the better it is for you.
And sharing that information, sharing, whatever is you're comfortable sharing, in that, in that environment, because, a lot of these companies, because of the market, they're doing roll-ups. So maybe it doesn't make sense today. It might make sense in 6 months. So I think being forthcoming with helping with recommendations and just sharing that information that might be helpful.